Hey, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody that's tuning in all around the world. I see folks are still filtering in into the virtual auditorium. I want to welcome you on behalf of HITLAB to the Digital Health Symposium. We're looking today at the digital health or understanding digital health in the last mile delivery. My name is Jerry Antimano, and I am the Community Development Manager at HITLAB. In place of Stan Kuchnowski, who is chair of HITLAB, who is normally on today, but is busy teaching at the Columbia Business School Digital Health Strategy Program today. So unfortunately, he's not able to join us, but there is also going to be some information about how you can join Stan, the Digital Health Strategy Program at Columbia University for the fall cohort. Of course, we want to recognize our partners, Moses and Singer, who are helping us present the symposium today, without whom our conversations would not be possible. And more about Moses and Singer later, as Linda Malik will be presenting at the very end, and also running a workshop focused mainly towards startups around tools for social equity in digital health. We also want to recognize our partners, without whom, again, we wouldn't be able to get the conversations out to you and have these conversations that we're having today. Please join us for a meet and greet, a continued discussion with all of the speakers and some of the attendees in the post-Zoom chat today. The link is being provided by both Ansley and Ayana from HITLAB in the chat. It would be wonderful if at 2 o'clock you can join us for some post-event discussions, as we know that the segments that we have at the symposium are very short, but it does allow for continued discussion. Moses and Singer's workshop will also be featured at that chat. A couple of quick announcements before we get into our first panel. We have the Breakthrough Alliance Challenge coming up for the end of the year. The call for applications is already open. So if you're an innovator in the digital health space, or you know an innovator in the digital health space, please let them know that the applications are open. The Breakthrough Alliance is really dedicated to finding the most disruptive and most emerging techs that are going to make the difference in the world today. So please let folks know that they can apply for the challenge that's going to take place at the end of the year, no less at our symposium. And for the first time in 2 or 3 years, we will also be running it live and in person, at least on the first day. So the early bird tickets are available right now for purchase. They will go up, I think, at the beginning of October. So if you do want to attend in person in New York City, we're bringing this major digital health event back in person for at least 1 day. The rest of the days will be virtual, but space is limited. So again, the link to register and for more information is in the chat. So please do check it out. Before we get on to our next panel, and we will get there, I promise, we have an exclusive book giveaway from Lorraine Marchand, who's the author of The Innovation Mindset, a cracking book. Stan has read through it already and is raving about it. And we do have, I think, 3 book giveaway segments today. So if everyone could get on their keyboards, the first attendee with the correct answer in the chat box will win a copy of Lorraine Marchand's The Innovation Mindset, which she has so kindly allowed to give away for this event. So the question is coming up soon, so fingers on keyboards, everybody. The question is, what city was home to the first hospital in the United States? A, Atlanta, Georgia; B, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania; C, Boston, Massachusetts; or D, Chicago, Illinois. Leave it up there for 10 more seconds. I see the chat already going crazy before I even finish the question. And the answer is B, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So congratulations, I think, Salab Sood, for getting in there first. So congratulations to you for winning our first copy of Lorraine Marchand's The Innovation Mindset. And without further ado, I want to move on to our panel. our first interview for the day. I'd like to welcome, on the note of Breakthrough Alliance, Jim McGough, CEO of EdgeOne Medical, who is part of the HITLAB Breakthrough Alliance board, to interview Susan Perry, one of the Breakthrough Alliance Challenge finalists from June. So Jim, over to you.
Thanks, Jerry. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine.
Yes.
Great. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. As Stan would say, I have the great privilege of having an opportunity to have a little chat with Susan Perry, CEO of Taylannas and of Speechmed. And Susan, we'll just get started off real quickly, just before I go, in case those that don't know me. EdgeOne Medical is the leading development partner for devices and software as a medical device for pharma. So we support 8 of the top 20 as more and more therapies and diagnostics are coming together. So we love helping patients access the best care. And I know, Susan, that's what you're doing with your venture. And so maybe first you could just tell us a bit about how your journey in the industry and what brought you to where you are today.
Thank you. So my name is Susan Perry. I'm the CEO of Taylannas, and I'd like to start with a little story. My French mother-in-law, Giselle, was hospitalized for what we thought was kind of precautionary inconvenience for her. She developed a series of cough. She was 81, and the cough was escalating. After she was treated at the hospital successfully, at discharge, she received 15 pages of written instructions in English. One instruction was to stop taking 2 of her current medicines and start taking 2 replacement medicines. And although she spoke English and 4 other languages, she didn't read it well. When she got home, one of our family members who doesn't speak any English, which is very common in the United States, like 1 in 5 of us goes home to a family that speaks a language other than English. But that family member managed to fill the 2 new prescriptions and added them to her schedule. So after double dosing on hypertension and anticoagulant for 5 days, she was rushed back to the hospital for 16 weeks in intensive care, almost $1 million in medical expenses, and eventually her death from a totally avoidable medical mishap due to a language barrier. Medicare paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. Each of us in the family contributed to her, financially and emotionally for a month. And eventually her grandchildren lost a loving and really incredible grandmother. So at the time of Giselle's mishap, my company, we were working with voice and language platforms for hospitality. And our team started kind of on the journey with the first audio digital restaurant menu in the world called Menus That Talk. And we got a lot of experience studying user experience in like restaurants, zoos, and other entertainment videos with, very diverse people. So when this thing happened with Giselle, we started applying our voice and language platform to healthcare with current proficient literacy rate in the United States of only, well, some people say 12%, some people say 14%, and 1 in 5 of us going home to a family that speaks a language other than English. This mission is kind of urgent.
Absolutely, Susan. It's interesting. I was just with a bunch of pharma earlier this week, and the instructions for use and the complexity and the different modalities, it's getting more and more complex. And everybody who's responsible for a therapy is really understanding this challenge is getting harder and harder. So it's really exciting. So can you tell us where you are right now with
Sure.
Speechmed?
And one of the things I would say about complex instructions is, in addition to audio, we could load explainer videos in multiple languages. But anyway, so I have a question, and you kind of asked it in a way. How are patients supposed to follow instructions that they don't understand? And, we all think about what it means when they don't. We know that, healthcare organizations have a problem with increasing costs from unnecessary medical mishaps and lawsuits, and families have a problem with these mishaps ruining their lives financially and emotionally. So we created Speechmed. It's a multilingual voice platform that makes health information kind of very understandable for patients and their caregivers. We use voice and language to add an innovative dimension to address low health literacy by breaking down complex medical information into kind of digestible format that makes it, takes it way beyond paper instructions. And then we deliver it in the language that they understand. Because even if you speak a foreign language, you may not read it well. So we developed an enterprise system. We also have a patient-facing portal and app. We're getting ready to release a caregiver app. It educates the patient, provides care instructions and timely medication reminders with an actual picture of the pill or whatever they're using, so that the patients know that they're doing, taking care of the right one. And then other things like documents can be saved onto our patient portal to be accessed, like your COVID card, and caregivers can remotely monitor medication compliance for and also payers or providers, depending on who is responsible, can receive warnings about at-risk patients who've missed their medication for follow-up. And we can even send them a report once a month or wherever they're seeing the patient. If my mother-in-law had gone home with Speechmed, she would have been able to listen to her instructions in French. I, just by pressing one button, would have been able to listen in English. And Marie, who loved and cared for her, could have listened in Spanish, and everybody would have been on the same page. So Baptist Hospital is currently conducting a clinical trial with their neurological Spanish-speaking patients. And next month, Bless Medical Center is launching a program for their Medicare and dual enrollment Haitian-speaking patients.
Wonderful, Susan. So, I mean, I always love it when companies that are addressing an unmet need, and this is a big, as I mentioned, a big issue. You were a finalist in the summer cohort for the Breakthrough Alliance Challenge, and just what has that done for you and for folks around the world? 'Cause it is so challenging to bring new innovation into the world of healthcare, and we just want to help everybody's here to try to get the ones that really need to be brought to the market. But can you give us some insights on what's meant for you?
For sure. I mean, we were so surprised the day that I, gave my presentation. We had 22 impressive professionals contact us just on LinkedIn alone. And over the week, we've had so many people contact us about Speechmed. In addition, I think that these monthly symposiums are so important because you're seeing kind of what's new, what people are really thinking about. So it's like a mandatory thing for the team to watch, either on time or later on in YouTube. And the fact that it's available and archived is really important. I just think for connections and meeting the best people.
Absolutely, Susan. Thanks. I mean, so one of the things, just we're getting a few questions. We don't have time to answer them. If folks, you should go take a look at the Speechmed website. There's an explainer, and there's things that go into the details of different ways, modalities that they're helping, just as Susan. So I would encourage that. But one last thought for you, Susan, just what's the importance of health literacy in the final delivery of care? I mean, you've mentioned with your own personal situation, but is there anything that you see that really should be a focus, and you need help from the community here that could advance this issue?
We're always looking for, thoughts and mentorship. The problem's very difficult, and sometimes with the best of intentions, when we're working with patients, we have a tendency to want to work with those that we feel confident with. And in addition, people that suffer from health literacy a lot of times won't even tell the physician or indicate that they don't understand. And we're busy, we're overworked, we have 5 minutes sometimes. So, and in addition, to compound that, healthcare translation requires an unfaltering level of accuracy and attention. And an approach with the current systems in place can't do that unless you have an actual physical translator. I honestly believe that if we hadn't worked in hospitality and got to study kind of diverse user experiences and built this platform that's specific for this, we would not be talking. I mean, it's a very difficult problem, but it's solvable. We've solved it. And anybody that would like to like reach out and give us any advice, we're really open to that. That's one of the things that HITLAB does so well for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Susan. Well, thanks for sharing your story. And this is what exactly we're trying to connect more people that I understand. Everybody understands how important an issue this is. So thanks for your time. I think at this point, we need to turn it back on to the next session. But Susan, again, thanks for your time and thanks
Thank
everybody
you
for tuning
so
in.
much.
Sure, we'll hand it back to Jerry.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Susan. Really wonderful discussion all around health literacy, whether you speak the language or not, I think. There's a couple of questions in the chat, Susan. If you're so kind to maybe stick around and answer them via text, that would be wonderful. And on the note of the chat, please feel free, everybody, to introduce yourselves. Let us know where you are, share your LinkedIn, and take this opportunity to connect with other like-minded folks as we discuss more around the digital health understanding in the last mile.